Yeah, so as kind of introduced, this is a kind of second iteration of something that we started in Cambridge at the Race and Poetry and Poetics Conference last year. And we were kind of looking at trauma and mourning and its relationship with kind of anti-racist practice. And we've kind of moved that on to think about the spatiality of the suburban. And we're thinking about suburban as both like the space, the outer city, but also kind of under the city, the subaltern and so on. And we're particularly situated in South London, all three of us. And we're thinking about like South London as a global south as well. So there's a kind of multiple meanings coming out of it. And yeah, so we're also kind of relating this to kind of an everyday, a haptic everyday, and a relationship with the city as a kind of racialized, gendered, and neuronormative space from where we're developing a kind of collective response to. So we've all got kind of different poems which respond to similar situations, I guess. Much of this is hopefully going to emerge in a pamphlet called Suburban Finesse. And yeah, I just wanted to actually, obviously Sean Bonney passed, and I found this, was reading a lot of his work, and there was this really nice little quote which maybe can be a little epigraph to what we're doing. It's from Letter Against Spectres. Pandemonium is suburbia, pure and simple. The rioters are speaking in perfect English. It's the middle class, the magistrates, and you, who are all talking some weird, ignorant slang. All of your mouths are stitched up with some kind of weird gaffer tape. Your laboratory is a slum. So we're going to get into it. We're going to have basically Azad is going to weave what he has termed himself the post-pastoral psychogeography of Morden. For people who don't know, Morden is a kind of a leafy southwest suburb, and he's adamant that it's a central part of London. He's adamant. And then I think we're going to have me, and I'm going to read a little bit about various parts of South and inner city London, and then we're going to have more interwoven stuff with Azad, and then Ash is going to take us through some stuff to do with Croydon and Grenfell, I believe. So I'll leave it with that. Azad.
Cheers, Kash. Can you do the time thing for me, please? Yeah, so a couple of things is that I feel like we're like hens in a chicken coop in London, so which is why I think Morden is the centre of London, because it's like how life should be. It's slow, and I often feel like I don't really get a break to think poetically unless I'm outside of the city. So I wrote a poem today because I was inspired by just like getting out of like the capital hellhole. It's all under the title The Morden Finesse, but I use the Anglo-Saxon term Mordune, which is the old village that Morden is kind of like based on, just for reference. But yeah, I'll start with the poem I wrote today. Morden is a big juggernaut dancing in the Turkish cafe, folkloric dehiscence. Please don't try and restore the liberal order. You can't contain the salad. Mo Salah, Mo Salah, Mo Salah. New worldliness and liberation geography. Morden, the unattainable spirit. A preacher from Seoul is waving a flyer. Tells me, Jesus loves me. Of course he fucking does, I say. Then she says, God bless you. And I do the adab, decolonized. Cosmos of the intellect in the break. The 93 bus trundles round the clock to Putney. The breeze over Cannon Hill Common washes away the rancour of midnight frivolities into the dew on this cobalt-grey morning sun. Back under Mordune, the Anglo-Saxon village, full of brooks from the Thames, now crowded by electronic bazaars and rivulets of song from the minarets of our Ahmadi masjid. I sing the more June electric, bashful and low-lying, a town intoxicatingly mundane. And is there philology to answer for that proximity? Or is there history to account for resistance? Division now tries to sow in tarmac post-referendum fires, those which burn the mosque but missed the prayer hall. What palimpsest is this imaginary, where charred paint is the evocation of subsistence as neoliberal identity? Is to be built from these lullabies just cast iron roast in sectarianism, or is belief something that brings hope, manifests in money from abroad, saving a face, to make from carceral historicism a cartography of the spatial hermeneutic? I long for the new marble development. The scaffold excites with promises of pristine, sober bodies, great hall of brown smiles, Morden's limitless Aleph. The old Irish bar stands opposite the Century, next to a betting shop and a Pakistani-Bangladeshi collaboration known as a cabbies. Home for a fiver. Home counties, they tell me, discouragingly as I write. What even counts as a home if I was displaced in exile? Inside one and the other, the fusion of freshly poured Guinness mixes with the sarg and clarified butter, aromas over and under our lot. So now, the morning commute, one appreciates this as the zone where we cusp onto the garden and the concrete, sonological. Morden is to drink bitter with H. Hatter, to philosophize or trade photos of rare stamps and stop the English beating each other. The football might be on, but it's not that deep. Like the river here is traversable, thin on the ground, yet reflective, as your eyes were when you turned to me and said, yeah, I could get used to this. Still, I sing the Morden finesse at the edge of the northern line south, bound out of the window in Uncle Salim's whip. Inside the outside, community of communities, make sheath more ornate than swords, no room for bloodied metal, because without more June, I do not exist. My family were the first brown family in this village within a village, where Morden lowers into Surrey, where to be from a place is to say so with apology. As the city of London shuttles west and east, as North London grows closer to Leeds, the south anchors this broken, rudderless place, built by those the city kept as second-class subjects. Was it not our black, brown, beige sweat that oiled these rail tracks? And if the ship is rudderless now, is it not a problem for us all? All these toddler diasporas talk about roots and culture. Well, I set off a big fuck-off anchor into the river, motion continued in our bodies with our art free of the direction of the failed city. What makes a place a space? Or is it not our extremely minimal police presence that's cause for celebrations? Rethought the performance of the spatial dialectic, bring out the chocolate and stain my teeth with my neighbour's love. We share third-party wall agreements and so much more. We disagree to agree. I receive your cards on Christmas, Eid, Diwali, and my nan's birthday.
Okay. Subtended quotidian. Head freeing out in front, body numbed in painkillers and exhaustion, a cocktail of distrust. Time vibrates in the nook of the bus's embrace, a public unto self. Double graphic poll, after the kid. That start and end internecine, text as life takes hold, silence and interpenetration at the end of the book, beginning the writing, beginning the book, begins the writing. Like a double graphic poll between desire and narrative and social actuality, where becomings keep rolling in the internecine space of writing and place. Gully to gully. Shard sold out and elemental elocutions. Cosmopolitical characterization at the cross of Edgware Road and Church Street as market wares pass hand and cloth drapes in bouts of cultural assertion across the allure of the navel. Pre-fossilized life. In that calcifying moment where Thorpe's Park revelries inculcate into the pink city splendor, where street vendors jostle for clout and buses trundle along elephant pathways, as if the colonial retreat into John Lewis predates the new, where Delhi collapses under Maruti smog, pre-fossilized life, jet streams and jet air, We are lost revelling in buses heading out to Morden, out to Pradesh's pensive cousin. In the blur of a turban's presence, the elephants stand still, intransigent to their flight. Multiplying nodes of cybernetic undergrowth trace past, in terrific bursts of animal spirit, where Uncle Salim's car interior disperses into frenetic filialities. At the breaking point of the cerebral, we move disjointed in tandem, in slipstreams of improbability covered nape to toe, in Jaipuri Rajais, awash in colour. We devise new maps. Good Friday. Freewheeling Handsworth, land that forgot time, racist roundabout pubs where African village now stands. The road's gone global, Kurds, Czechs and all supping on golden pastries, bearded men in their gilded windows, suburban bliss. Southern leafy clime sitting with ice cream, perusing the last remembrances. New memories, bolty legends trail from mountain life into industrial territory. Sangam original dining, impromptu seasonability, where global food market marks change and moving on makes possible. Southern finesse. 1. Sexual cut, bookshop, eatery. The realization of myth, desire, placidity, inner city bustle, Indian movement, African freedoms, legibility, Elephant Thameslink. 2. Croydon post-up imaginings, intermixture, striated cafes and born-again promises, Tamil Elam boardings, Little Beirut's, Kurdish dreams, 6-foot dossers and Gold Coast promises. 3. Brixton's 90s, slick and style and slick, buses business, dark climaxes and ruined markets. You know I'm not being rude, but you know why I don't say it, you know? White people, you whisper. Arab African men slurping soup in reversed engineered elocution, subtle and sufficient, opposite Romanian panini sellers. 4. Meetups in pubs gleaming, overwritten floors and overbearing lighting, aging melodies still adamant as chairs upheld in righteous inertia. Gossip rings true, in throats laced with current abandon. We left content in control, queuing for grub and hospitality. Streets ridden with flesh and shadow. Incredulous aunts practicing Kantian judgment in morning gupshop. The Ends Festival, Croydon. Get Out, 2018. Malfunctioned multiculture in hemorrhage Gujarati households. Roads closed, interloping groups, scamper in June splendor. Get away from that lot, we hoped, littering Mackie D's like capsules of good fortune. Tooting streaks, blinding impreciseness, quick transactions, lounging work. Bus stop, heavy lifting, too hot, piping hot. Gold chain for a lively one, the elders chime on. Too hot, garnered today. On my feet for 9 hours. Dangerous now, thieving youths. My arch is gone, no can do. Oh, the kidnapping. Quickly away, depart, dispense. Streaking off, amicable. Is there football on I can leave you with? A news night's on. Oh, great, that's basically football for the world. Yeah, theatre of dreams. Didn't Adorno say something like that? No, I'm pretty sure you're referring to Old Trafford. Sound clashes in forest vestiges, gotten ashes fever, short leg gully encroaching, leg slip behaviour, forgotten clashes in dancehall fever. Vegan encroachments at Marie's Cafe, tofu sidling drunken noodles, vomit-flecked Lawler copy, hardback form they call them, that came out of my nose. Great British porridge, found glory in packets of quinoa and jarred butter beans village-styled. Autodidactic evenings, emails drafted, supple interests, make it happen. Carney vibes, post-summer, Stokesy thing. Float system, scorcher, guava, disarona, water, chana dal, wasabi peas, banane. Ecological mass, atmospheric mass. Alliol, plastic cups pass in hand, swilling over, head crunch, rose cheeks, concealer rouge, cap and sunnies, lost signals, lost folks, bloody stories, basic channel, noon at Gladdywax.
No, it's me, isn't it? Borden Park at the rear of St. Lawrence's Church would give Wordsworth a hard-on stronger than the foundations of overpriced cabins in the Lake District. Morden, more June, mundane, magnificent. I sing the Morden finesse with my cup of splosh, poached egg on Marmite toast. I let your embrace goose flesh my neck. You welcomed the exiled and gave us a playground. Your council is understaffed and inefficient, sometimes bafflingly disorganized, but at least they treat us as a people. When some mug complains to the TfL about the tube station book swap, we rioted quietly and went on strike, without complaints from the management. For once, they seem to be on our side. Now reopened, the book swap thrives, brings magic to us, traces and skin feelings, touching upon our community, connecting without pretense. As diffraction and as difference, the modern finesse utters continuity. For Punjabi Glaswegian bus drivers of the 50s, the Charos in Finchley, the forgotten histories of South Asian women who fought apartheid. A department store worker in 1940s Johannesburg called my great-aunt Kaffa. She punched him in the face and got arrested. She was 14. My uncle Dawood is rumoured to have pissed on an Afrikaner copper as a child who grew up amongst demonstrations and resistance. What kind of childhood do we have in exile? What does it mean to have a feeling in the air that you can consume as you breathe? When the identity politics Cambridge graduates talk about decolonisation, send them to Morden and let them meet the people. Morden is not a sub-disciplinary ghetto. If by ghetto you mean stuck, what was once isolated is made possible and given form. Then allow from 1926 the station to decolonise Clapham by virtue of real luck. Morden as method is method to rethink the abuse, reason and all that. Morden as method is method recalibrates poetry for social analysis. Jaipur is the place overlaid onto the Royal Surrey pub, pink bricks, inside and out. Sun Ra plays backgammon with Hanuman. As fingers drum on the counter, maybe the monkey god turns to you and says, Zizek is wrong, you know, about refugees, about us. The simultaneous brought into the foreground of checkered blind spots. Enter Morden, the schizophrene, patiently. Good Ute walks in the park. Describe the scene, the picture, the inframing. I see trees, but I've been alienated from them. I don't know their names. I don't know when the leaves change colour. I can't predict what the weather will be like tomorrow. All I know is that in Morden, it takes some finesse. And it has it, because the coffee shops around here don't play loud music, and we can have this conversation. Walk back to Morden Park and jump over the brook. Is the river then a border to the world? This river comes from the Thames, apparently. So the south is disconnected. The north has all the buses and trains. All of this is to say, hence what? Ghettoisation? How many London mayors will promise lines of expansions to help us commute to work? In the south, we don't worry about work. We don't worry at all, really. We just do poetry. Maybe we are poetry. Fanon said, a single line is enough. Caecilius est in Morden.
Thanks. Another moment in our collective thinking, our de-post, anti-non-colonial study as an ongoing experimentation in as ontological breakdown. Poetics as thought, as unthought. The diasporic thinker as poet at the limits, the post-colonial limits of language, reason, writing. If for Aimé Césaire, poetry is knowledge, ours is an episteme at the edge of intelligibility, in the excess of the modern subject of history. We are the madness of the post-colonial, inhabiting, transversing, haunting the imperial nation in rapid descent. At the edge of diasporic suburban being, an imperceptible invisibility, an opacity to the violent racial fetish of metropolitan brownness, haunting the neurofascism of the police state, the state of the situation, a secret on the edge, losing one's mind, disappearing in the shining enlightenment, undoing cartographies of white terror and death. Suburban poetics, retracing the topological movements of the subaltern, the slave, the coolie, the paki, the queer abject, as incalculable figurations, ethical ruptures, in the circuitry of racial capitalism in the aftermath. Nahum Chandler posits the Negro is a problem for thought. Thought is the problematic for race poetic space. The problematic is a limit, at a limit, and an opening, a spacing, a gap, a fissure, almost nothingness in which poetic language delimits, non-being appositional to the urban disaster, a collective nothingness that erupts in the temporal logics of paracoloniality, to, after the end, finitude and infinite, transversing the histories, collective memories of loss, death, trauma, life, joy, sociality, hiding in the light, an elegiac lament as nothingness, invisibility, the imperceptible demand and refusal for opacity in the lightness of being. Post-colonial madness as a twisting spiral, a vortex of dense poetics, at the edges of urban control and violence. Here are some further entangled traces of improvised thought and, as all poetics, on death, temporality, failure, loss, mourning, futurity, hope, love, resistance. A broken lyricism for a suburban fugitivity. Our ontological study as the silences and sounds between the schizophrenia of being and words, between the inner and outer city. Let the suburban righteous run amok. This is outer London in the Black House, tracing a darker shade of communism. Okay, get this to work.
Isra Ibrahim, Abu Faiz Ibrahim, Fatia Ahmed, Mohammed Amid Neda, Hisham Rahman, Rania Ahmed Adli Ibrahim, Hania Hassan, Fatia Hassan, Gloria Trevisan, Marco Gottardi, Raymond H. Bernard, Mariam ul Guhuri, Esla ul Guhuri, Tony Disson, Nadia Shoker, Bissam Shoker, Fatima Shoker, Mirna Shoker, Zainab Shoker, Noura Jamal, Hashim Kadir, Yahya Hashim, Yaqub Hashim Kadir, Firdoz Hashim, Syria Shoker, Logan Gomez, stillborn, Abdulaziz El-Wahabi, Fazia El-Wahabi, Yasin El-Wahabi, Nurhuda El-Wahabi, Mehdi El-Wahabi.
Open heart, in the memory of the Grenfell dead.
Jessica Ubani.
There must have been an explosion, an eruption, somewhere from the beginning of time, as time, and thus yet beyond time. Neither time nor not time, indeed displacing time. Before beginning, cavernous and massive, fractal infinity so, an earthquake or a volcano, a black hole in the whiteness of being, in the being of whiteness, for the disaster now and yet to come, Nahum Chandler. The silence walked as if time had stopped, out of time, the charred tower, tomb to the dead, a black obelisk haunting the city, cries reverberating against the shattered dreams. We came to live and live and lived. We love and die and die and died together. Tick, tick, tick. My metallic heart valve missed a beat. Burning tower, heart bleeding, remains remaining. Impotent TV simulacra, cacophony of media guilt, lost in the smoke of hypocrisy. Grieving souls, sounding grievance, enclosed in furnaces of speculative finance, flesh off the bone, suffocating abodes. I can't breathe, cinders remain, lives alone, together as one, you and me and us. Let them burn, rich stealing life, white lies, capital murder, death traps, rage, rising, heart beating faster. Sonny said, Dad's death broke your heart. Dad's open, broken heart. Dead migrants, dead labor. Sonny said, Dad's death broke your heart. Dad's open, broken heart. Dead migrants, dead labour. There is no fire without abstraction. Tick, 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 broken-hearted. The tower of anti-Babel. The open heart of Notting Hill, refusing accumulation by dispossession. Dubstep to other syncopations. Information, deformation. The base infrastructure of sociality. Opacity of nothingness. The dialectics of nothing is more or less than one. The bleeding heart of Handsworth, 8185. The righteous writing, Babylon, facing the music, Rasta, I. Steel Pulse, Handsworth Revolution, School Discos, Body Talk, Broadway School, White Flight, Lozel's Aston, Perry Bar, Places That Forgot Time. Dad falls on the street, lying on the hospital table. Dad did not rise. Workers poisoned in the factories of post-imperial Fordist death, the machinic recalibration of immigrant souls, invisible traces fold outside, small gestures of love, unity, seize the time, in and out of time. Marvin, what's going on? Maze featuring Frankie Beverly, we are one. LKJ told us a long time ago, England is our bitch, the ontological condition of the Ireland race, drowning in a sea of hate, opulence, indifference, St. George soiled in the fakery of deluded grandeur, caught in the banality of the not-so-new world order, built on virtual data and tea at Fortnum and Mason. The syntax of carnival reverie in the now time of joy, undulating movements in the line, the second line, can you feel the heart's arrhythmic pulsations, frequencies resonating, the phonic flesh as bacchanal, the heart ripped out, love of the inoperative multitude, improvised, inventive social poetics, the opacity of the undercommons under erasure. For every Grenfell, fires burn, ashes to ashes, from Dhaka to Gaza, burning hell. Darvish, alas, it was paradise. We run and run, shout, bass rumblings, open heart, green heart, we love and life, spacing the spaces of nothing, haunted by the verticality of subprime pressure. We fly, fuck, dream, dance, riot, revolt, memories of futures lost in time. Why do you hate when love is all we came with? We, the abject labor of whiteness, can you hear the beats of silence? Burning souls, haunted tower, hedging capital, tick, tick. 2. Burn Croydon, Riots 2011 remix. Just do it, flying down the street, broken shards scattered, coppers on the run, choppers buzzing, screens to the ready, fires burning, red sky at night, beds in flames, tigers jumping, breaking news. Aged men speak of times gone, blood and rivers, white was not black, black was not white, codes in codes lost in the post, hoods looking for easy pickings, generation wired, BBM, KFC, JJB, I, riot, ooh, am I, mirror, mirror, look at me, righteous indifference, lol, whatever. Sociologists puzzled, TV diatribe, headless youth workers, psychogeography, sat-navs rerouting, dead zones of post-industrial pastoral, like hell. Bowling alone, IKEA, B&Q, TGI, Zone 5 car parks, full dogging reality. Bikers on the edge, lost in the overpass, under the fly, roads to nowhere, so fucking Croydon, so fucking Bowie. Suburban sound, secret times, punk-rooted brutalist dialectics, unraveling ballads, speculative histories, future noise. Two-step to dubstep, Beano's lost in the concrete jungle, CCTV on guide, strike a pose, Kate Moss. On the corners, Tiger Tiger, roaring sails, Brit School dreams, fear-filled retromania, St. George's Walk empty, peep show at home of dead babies, Babel Towers, NLA, orbiting lunar house, disappearing queues, forgotten arrivals, monstrous plans left to rot, NF, BNP, EDL on the tram, sounding off, going viral, domes burn, unveil threats, disappearing jobs for the boys, class war, Terry and June, England, writing on the wall, poems burn, okay. Final one. railway replacement service. It's for Gyan, neurodiverse artist and brother of Azad. He's one of our own. And this poem's a response to Gyan's incredible paintings. He also lives with Azad in Mitcham. Grass verges lining minds, small memories locked in difference, spinning in my head, curtains twitching, suburban drift, national history, last days of the Raj, Boppadom please. Kingfisher piss water, drunk across imperial lands, you are one of us, brown as white, flashing colours. I feel through the haze of abstract expressionism, suburban futurism, red marks at night, the terror, white suffocation, white light, commuting without bowler hats, speculating capital, flights of fancy, another runway, no thanks. Full English against the swarm, I want my country back. Kebab and chips, Paki Taliban, veil threat, leave the chicken vindaloo, number 93 whizzing framed in my head. Fragments scattered, boxed out, painting the town red, strokes against the grain, lines of flight, window on the world, through the looking glass, caged out freedom, shades of blue, Jaipur, Red City, Chennai drones piercing eardrums, Rajasthan Express, I love India, the vibrant colours, the poverty, soul starving to death. Mr. Singh, a fine fellow, bus driver, father served in the army, coolie Paki, Norman Tebbit failed the cricket test. Would you like some mango chutney with your puke? Going round and round on the South Circular. Korean or are they Chinese? Buddha of suburbia, Enoch's nightmare. Sufi magic in the hands, chromatic diffusion as resistance. Adorno said so. Whirling dervishes, jet airways, inorganic intellectual in the white cube, breaking it down for the suburban folk. Translucent righteous waves of deep blue rage, blurred excess of life beyond the frame, insomnia, words lost in utopia, Uncle Salim's car, escape routes from the cul-de-sacs, wrong side of the tracks, fugitive aesthetic still life, post-colonial pop art, Mitcham's Basquiat, multiple photo cells, Brown Rothko, Warhol in the suburban jungle, nail bars and chicken shops, Bollywood dances in the church hall, anyone for tennis, don't mention the B word.
We don't do reasonable discussions around here. We jump the river, we jump the barrier. Morden asks us to strike a pose, and so I strike a match and inhale microplastics in solidarity with intermixed subjectivity, like fish. If structuralism came here as humanism, it tried to jump over the brook and miss the other side. We stand on the other side. Gaze into the brook's reflection. Radical technology of criticality. Give modern contrapuntal analysis where hybrid identities are cyborgian ontologies. Morden as topos welded to my spine as gratitude. Morden as the first verb I spoke. The People's Republic of Mordjune. Let it breathe. What Morden ain't is what Mordjune is, and this sure as hell ain't raucous free jazz symbiotes. We just have a low hum of submerged social noise, little eddies of traffic partition oak from willow, in the damp conscious of post-human geography, as post-London pours freedom from ailment. That's it. Thank you.